Hi everyone, nice to meet you again. Today our lab is about T-spring. In this lab you will learn wire bending of T-spring. Now I will explain to you, give you some information about the T-spring including definitions, uses, components and activations of T-spring. T-spring is palatally situated active component of removable orthodontic appliance. Previously, you take it Z spring, double Z springs, finger spring, and guarded finger spring also are palatally situated active components of removable orthodontic appliances. T-spring also is palatally situated, also active component of removable orthodontic appliances. Why we call T-spring? Because it's similar to letter T in shape. It consists of T-shaped arms whose ends are embedded inside the acrylic base plate. It is constructed from 0.5 hard stainless steel wire. Uses of T-spring. T-spring used for buccal movement of premolar and molars, means moving the tooth from the palatal to the buccal direction. In the buccal direction. Now we are going to components of T-spring. T-spring consists of active arm, two vertical arms with adjustment loops and retentive tack. Starting by active component. This is the active component. Active component of T-spring is the horizontal arm. Parallel to the occlusal plane of the tooth and located at the occlusal end of the tooth to be moved. It is curved. Why it is curved? To fit well on the convex lingual surface of the tooth to be moved. Mesially and distally, it continues as two small U loops. The width of horizontal arm with U loops should be equal plus the width of the lingual surface of the tooth to be moved. Now we are going to second component is the two vertical arm with adjustment loops. Two vertical arms extend vertically about 3 to 4 mm down at right angle to the U loops, separated by about 0.5 to 1 mm to each other. At the middle of them there are adjustment loops, two small horizontal U loops at right angle to the vertical arms. And the size of the adjustment loop should be smaller than or equals the size of the U-loops of the active arm. Now we are going to retentive tack. Retentive tack start as a right angle. See, a right angle at the end of vertical arms, at the end of adjustment loops of the vertical arm, ending by about 0.5 mm at right angle to the palate, in the shape of small L shape for embedding inside the acrylic base plate, and should be about 2 mm away from the palate. This is the T-spring. It is important to you. T-spring should be about 2 mm away from the palate. Don't touch the palate, and touches the cast only at 2 points, at the active arm and at the retentive tack. Why? To allow for activation of the spring without impinging the gingiva, so that you make sure that it doesn't impinge the gingiva as the tooth moves. Now we are going to activations of T-spring. How to activate the T-spring? with the angleless plier, pull the active arm like this away from the acrylic base plate in the direction of tooth movement. After the tooth had moved some distance, it is necessary to elongate the spring at the adjustment loopes. Open the adjustment loopes like that to elongate the spring. Open to activate the spring like this. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to construct the finger spring. Firstly, you should firstly you need in firstly you will need to make the T-spring. You in this lab you will need cutter, you will need angle plier, you need 3-prong plier, and you need marker. Now we want to cut the wire. How you cut the wire safely? To cut the wire safely, hold the wire on both ends between your fingers and cut to avoid having any wires fly away. Later, we straighten the wire. How to straighten the wire? With your right hand, hold the wire between the two pieces of the plier. With your left hand, non-dominant hand, pull the wire against the curve multiple times until it straightens. We repeat multiple times until the wire it will be straight. Check the wire on the flat surface on the table before proceeding to know the wire is straight or not. Now the wire is straight. Firstly, we start to make the horizontal arm with U-loops. Like this. We selected the width of the horizontal arm on the tooth to be moved, like this. And we bending the wire. And vertical arms start at the right angle to the U-loops, like this. At right angle to the U-loops. Again, the second arm also at right angles to the U-loop. We're squeezing a little bit the U-loops to be passive. and two arms extend down about 3 to 4 milli remark, and separated by about 0.5 to 1 millim to each other. At the middle of the vertical arm, we have two adjustment loops at right angle to the vertical arms. At right angle to the vertical arms. Now we make two adjustment loops. The size of adjustment loop should be smaller or equals the size of the active arm of the size of the loop loops of the active arm, like this. And this is the retentive tag start as right angle at the end of adjustment loops of the vertical arm. Again, start as at right angle at the end of vertical arms, adjustment loop of vertical arms. And this is the retentive arm start as right angle at the end of adjustment loop of vertical arm, ending by about 0.5 millim at right angle to the bed for embedding inside the acrylic base plate, like this. Like this. And we cut the excess links of the wire to cut, as I said, to cut the wire safely. Hold the wire between your fingers and cut to avoid having any wires fly away. This is the T-spring. What we do now, by 3-prong plier, we make a curve, a slight curve on the horizontal, on the active arm, to take the shape of the lingual surface of the tooth to be moved, to fit well on the lingual surface of the tooth to be moved. Look, this is the T-spring. This is the T-spring, ideal T-spring. retentive tag ending by 0.5 mm in the shape of small L shape to the palate for embedding inside the acrylic base plate. And retentive tag should be about 2 mm away from the palatal midline, and T-spring should not be touch the palate and touch the cast only at 2 points, at the active arm and at the retentive tag, to allow for activation of the spring without impinging the gingiva, to make sure it doesn't impinge the gingiva as the tooth move it. That is all about the T-spring. Thank you.